I think we can go live. And we should be live right now. Hello, welcome, and spooky Halloween or something.
Ooh.
Greetings, friends!
I love that.
He's come from beyond the grave.
Yes, I am back. My voice changer is working, which means we are not going to be talking about sex robots.
Thank God.
We're gonna talk about something he finds much more sexy. Werehog Sonic.
Werehog! So yes, Sonic Speed Simulator has been doing a Halloween all month with a whole bunch of spooky-themed skins, such as Vampire Sonic, and Gothic Amy, and Skeleton Knuckles. And today they have added in the Werehog, which means naturally I stayed up until 3 in the morning to unlock it.
Skeleton Knuckles. Isn't that based off of a costume from Sonic Battle or something? Or Sonic Rivals?
I think maybe, yeah. It has been a while since I've seen the Knuckles costumes in Rivals. The only one I really remember is his Eggman costume, which is just weird. But, yeah, so the Werehog in Sonic Speed Simulator. I'm very surprised we managed to get the Werehog before we got Shadow.
Yeah,
The Werehog's far
surprising.
more important than Shadow.
Shadows is
Yeah.
scary enough for Halloween, I guess.
The Werehog is
So,
more...
I definitely like him being in the game, although his model does look a little off. He's very shiny. And also there's a weird glitch where his spin dash is like a foot off the ground. But like, other than that, it's nice to have him in. It's hilarious to see him running at full speed because like he has the same running on all fours animation he has in Unleashed, except it's at like 1,000 miles per hour, so it's just very, very sped up. It's fantastic.
Nice. I just noticed someone in the comments, Skeleton Knuckles, that's actually from Sonic Adventure 2. I think the original version, yeah.
You didn't know that? You're the master of obscure knowledge. How dare you?
Well, hey, I'm not very familiar with playing the original, like, Dreamcast of Sonic Adventure. It's kind of because the fan base kind of really put me off, like, oh, the originals are superior because of the graphics. It's all about the graphics, man. Because that's all I've been hearing for so long.
You get so petty about that sort of thing, huh?
Alright, yeah, I just looked it up, and Skeleton Knuckles was not in Sonic Rivals 2.
Okay, yeah.
They had, like, the racing suit, the gladiator suit, the Eggman suit, and some weird black one.
Oh, yeah.
Man,
I never unlocked the Eggman one, because every character had one costume that you needed to unlock by playing multiplayer, and I had nobody to ever play with.
Aw,
Yeah.
lonely captain.
Sad violin tune playing.
Alright, I should have fixed a few now. Alrighty, so yeah, we have to wait for Luke to return. He actually went to a Halloween parade because unlike us, he actually has a life. So, guess we'll just waste some time for now. Anyone wants to talk about Sonic Prime or something?
Yeah, we could talk a bit about Sonic Prime.
Naturally. Since the trailer dropped.
Yes, finally the big trailer. Yep.
Yeah.
And the animation is amazing, very fluent.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, it looks really fantastic. I'm the more I see of it, the more faith I have in it. And like the biggest thing to me is just how expressive all of the characters are.
Yeah,
They-
that's
they-
true.
They look so alive.
I'm so
Yeah, it's-
happy because Sonic felt so dead and low energy for so long. Man, I was worried it was going to be a Sonic Boom 2, but no, it's the opposite. Man,
Yeah,
it's
so far
it's-
so far the animation's a huge step up from what the Sonic Boom TV show was like, with its stiff animation and all that.
And I must say, I'm shocked to see Rouge back in actually main character position. That's been a long time ago. I guess I desperately needed the second female character to show up, so she was the only choice. But still, hey, I appreciate it. I mean, it's kind of nice. I mean, Sonic X was kind of shocking, and how Rouge was constantly one of the main cast. So it's kind of nice to see her return to that position. Of course, her sexiness faction is a little reduced, so sad news for perverts out there.
Sacrifices had to be made.
Yeah, they toned down the breasts. Instead, they gave her a new outfit, which kind of looks like a more streamlined version of her Sonic Heroes attire.
I guess so.
Yeah, but give it time.
They giveth with one hand and taketh with the other. But a big reason why I'm so excited about the animation quality is because there's been a push in recent years to have Sonic completely redesigned because people didn't think that Sonic's current look is very expressive. And here's Sonic Prime proving that even with Sonic's default appearance, you can still make him very expressive.
Yeah, it wasn't the design, it's just the laziness of the animators.
Exactly.
Yeah, it just depends who it just depends on who you actually hire to animate. Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Prime. I mean, I hate how Green Hill Zone looked, but other than that, it's pretty awesome. Man, I love Eggman's Robotnik's voice.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of Jim Cummings when he sounded quiet. Gives credence to the whole Sonic CDM field.
It is definitely weird to hear somebody else's voice coming out of Eggman, but he's doing a pretty good job so far. Way to go, Brian Drummond.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite the upgrade from Knuckles in Sonic Underground, now voicing Robotnik in this show.
I think he's definitely much better suited for Eggman than Knuckles.
Yeah, so far he's sounding better as Robotnik.
Nice and energetic, the way I like it, yeah.
And the more I hear of this new Sonic voice, the more I love it. It's so good.
Yeah, it's very close to Roger Greg Smith to me.
Yeah.
If you told me it's the same voice actor, I probably wouldn't even have noticed.
And even though we've only heard Tails say one word so far, he definitely sounds a little bit like Rainbow Dash.
Yeah, because apparently now Tails is being voiced by the same gal who does Rainbow Dash and Applejack.
And Lyra.
Yeah,
Lyra.
My Little Ponies reunion.
It's crazy that so far, the voice cast has been revealed so far. It does kind of feel like a big My Little Pony Friendship is Magic voice cast reunion.
Is it the same studio?
That's something. Yes. So, DHX Media is the company that made My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, and they became Wild Brain, which is making Sonic Prime. So it makes sense that most of the cast of the two shows, or of Sonic Prime, was also in My Little Pony. All except for Sonic and Knuckles' voice actors, interestingly enough. Everyone else was in My Little Pony.
They're the only ones not into My Little Ponies. They're more into fuzzy puppies, I guess.
Because it's kind of interesting here. Apparently, Rouge is now being voiced by the same gal who's done Adagio Blaze, Octavia Melody, and the singing voice of Rarity. And I'm like, yeah, I can see that kind of voice for Rouge.
Oh yeah. And Shannon Chan Kent is going to be Amy, and I think that's a fantastic choice because, obviously, she's most well known as the voice of Misa, I think, from Death Note.
Yeah.
And so I was looking at her voice cast or her voice credits on BehindTheVoiceActors.com, and I think the characters she has voiced before could lend really well to Amy's voice. So I'm excited to actually hear her as this character.
Yeah.
I'm more familiar with her as being the singing voice for Pinkie Pie.
I'm just more aware of her being the Roadhouse waitress in the first Sonic movie.
Oh, yeah! Weird random bit of trivia. She was also the waitress who almost got skewered by the darts in the first Sonic movie.
Oh, that's such a funny coincidence. So this is the second Sonic TV show voice actor who shows up in the movies. After Gary Schwartz was also in the first movie. He was Grounder in Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, and he was Robotnik in Sonic Underground.
Yeah.
Pity he's not in this one, though. There would have been 4.
Oh wait,
Yeah.
did I say Gary Schwartz? I meant Gary Chalk.
Yeah, Gary Chalk,
Yeah.
Gary Schwartz is
say,
the head of
Gary
TF2.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you never know. Like, so far, they're kind of sticking with the idea of what I kind of figured, like, oh, Sonic goes to alternate universe, but not like one of the established universes from the past, but just something else. So here it's very Sonic Sat AM with, like, Sonic's friends being the Resistance Freedom Fighters thing, and it actually looked pretty cool. Knuckles got all the scars, and Tails has the robot appendages for his tails.
As well as Rouge resembling more of a French Resistance soldier.
Oh yeah, I'm digging
with the beret.
Yeah,
I'm definitely digging her Resistance attire.
Yeah, just wondering why Amy has long legs, though.
She wanted to be tall.
Yeah, it's that way of saying, like, notice me.
The more I look cut off and replaced by robot legs or something.
The more I looked at her design, the more I wondered if she's like a cyborg or if she's actually full on roboticized. Because
maybe she's
it doesn't look like there's any.
Yeah,
it doesn't look like there's any more organic parts to her.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of people say like, "Oh, it's just Bunny Rabbit, but Amy with the cyborg Amy look."
Yeah, I've been seeing at least one picture of where Amy just steals Bunny Rabbit appendages, and she says like, "Thanks for the legs," and Bunny's just like, "Give them back."
Poor Bunny.
Oh, poor Bunny.
Sorry for jumping in. Just my little thought about this series. I noticed that the robots that they showed at one point, I'm not sure if Roger has a picture of it.
Sorry, no.
Okay. Well, there's a shot of like a fight happening between the gang and the robots. They all have different designs, I noticed. But wasn't there like a sneak peek sketch like in early times showing different kinds of Robotniks? What if those different Robotniks made different robots?
Yeah, that would make sense.
And the different Eggmans actually do show up in the trailer.
Yeah, they're just in silhouette.
They're in silhouette.
Yeah. So that's what I think, that those robots are made by different Robotniks. That's just my thought that I noticed while seeing videos and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just a little tidbit. Also, one note, sorry for the fireworks, but they're popping fireworks off here and it's very annoying. So, to the stream, to the viewers, sorry for that.
Yeah, they don't
Enjoy
celebrate
the show.
Halloween, they just celebrate 5,000 New Years, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
I was about to say, it's like, it's not the 5th of November yet, that's next week.
Yeah.
Hey.
But it's
Leave it
Halloween.
to the kids outside, and then punch them in the face when you're talking to them anyway.
Want me go all the way to the Netherlands and say like, "Oi, cut that out! Firework night is not until next Saturday. Get your facts straight."
Well, now you know how now you know how we Americans are, where people are celebrating 4th of July like 10 days early before the damn holiday starts.
It's kind of pathetic. You're supposed to be celebrating Easter at this point in time. Stores.
I didn't notice. I didn't notice from watching the trailer for the first time that some of these robots that Sonic beats up are in fact grounders.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe Gary Chalk is voicing one of them secretly.
Maybe.
I mean, wasn't Dick also turned into this new animation studio?
Deke, yeah. I think DHX bought Deke. So, yeah, technically, Wild Brain is also Deke Entertainment. So, there is potential there for like references to the old cartoons.
Because it already feels like Sonic Prime is like an amalgamation of all animations before. I mean, it's based on the games like Sonic X. It's 3D like Sonic Boom. Even the fight with the Badniks is kind of Sonic Boom-ish. Then the whole premise is Sonic CTM-ish. And now we have Grounder showing up from Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. We're only missing a rock band, and we got Sonic Underground as well.
Oh, I'm here now.
Look!
Hey.
The lost son has returned from the parades.
Yeah, I just went to a Halloween parade down the seafront. It's not too bad. It's not like it has like large floats or anything. It's just like you've got these like cars with decorations. You've got people in costume, asking donations. They've got some impressive floats, and there's a giant like witch float, and there's a giant luminescent skeleton float. And also there was a giant spider. And also I saw the Ecto one as well.
Ooh, epic! And did you dress up?
No, I just watched it. And also I filmed a bit of it as well, so I'll probably like upload it tomorrow or something.
All right, Luke's YouTube
And also they
channel
had
is in the
fireworks
comments.
as well.
Yeah.
So what was the last thing you said?
I was just saying there were fireworks as well.
Oh yeah, tell me about it. But okay, cool, nice to hear you had a good time. The only one of us who's actually celebrating Halloween.
Well, it depends if you're eating sweets or not.
Ah, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, so far I've snacked on a few candies.
Yeah, I bought myself a bag of Skittles to save myself for Monday.
Oh, that's a coincidence, because my mom recently sent me a bag of Skittles.
Oh, nice. It's kind of like a tradition I have where every Halloween night I'd like tuck into a bag of Skittles and probably watch something spooky.
Ah, nice. Yeah, I'm planning to do that too. For Halloween night, after I get done with my early morning shift, I'm gonna be watching. It's gonna be a double movie night. So first it'll be Hocus Pocus 2, and then
Alright.
Wendell and Wild. I'm definitely looking forward to that one.
All right.
All right.
Sylvie and I watched the new Muppet special yesterday from the Disney's Halloween ride.
Oh yeah,
Ride.
one
It
that
was
came
kinda
out last
boring.
year. Yeah.
Oh, the Haunted Mansion one.
Yeah, the Haunted Mansion one. Yeah, it was kind of boring to be honest, but oh well.
All right.
I found it
You guys
amusing.
want to hear an odd confession of mine?
Sure.
What's that?
I've never seen A Nightmare Before Christmas.
Blasphemy!
Blasphemy!
Pure blasphemy, I tell you!
And I think this might be the year I do it.
All right, cool.
Better be.
But yeah.
Yeah, I remember when it took me until I was like 14 to watch it because I was 8 when it came out, and I was so terrified of it when I saw the trailers. Like, I was absolutely terrified of Jack Skellington, think he was evil and he wants to like destroy Christmas or something. But eventually, I gained the courage to watch it, and I thought, yeah, it's pretty good. And like, Jack Skellington is not evil; he just wants to understand Christmas.
Ah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a little misguided, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see Nightmare Before Christmas for a long time either. It's only because of Kingdom Hearts I eventually went back to check it out. That was the only world in Kingdom Hearts 1 I didn't get. So,
Yeah. I've been a big fan of the film for like years. I remember I watched it like way back in the old VHS tapes, and like, oh wow, it's cool. And I watched it a lot, and yeah, collected a lot of merchandise. And of course, when I got in Kingdom Hearts, like, oh boy, going to go to Halloween Town and beat up Oogie Boogie and all that. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the film. I've collected a lot of stuff and all of the various sequels they've done with video games and comics and the official novel that came out. But yeah, it's a good film to watch for Halloween or Christmas or whatever.
fair enough. I understood that the captain has to leave us soon, so should we start with Sonic
Oh,
X quickly?
Not necessarily soon. Just I can't stick around for like hours.
And neither can we. It's pretty late for us. But yeah, Luke, you want to share something about Sonic Prime? We haven't heard your thoughts yet.
It looks all right. I love how well animated it looks compared to like how animated Sonic Boom was, and it's great to see characters that have yet to had a 3D animated look, like Big the Cat and Rouge the Bat, who appears to be wearing her Sonic Heroes attire. The way they make Big the Cat look in that promo image, he kind of looks a bit like Po from Kung Fu Panda. But yeah, the trailer's all right. I'm not a fan of the music. What is that? R&B, hip, kind of rap or something?
I don't know why they keep associating Sonic with rap music. It drives me nuts. Although at least it was high energy this time, so I'm kind of okay with it. But
yes, and I like how you got Sonic traveling to different dimensions, and that he's like trapped in this post-apocalyptic world where taken over by Robotnik or multiple Robotniks. So Sonic has to put together this resistance or something. And yes, it's been brought. I think everyone's thinking this, like, yes, this is how Sonic Forces should be like, especially if they have Amy looking like a cyborg.
that would have
And
been
of
very
course-
interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And of
we'll
course
see if it outdoes Sonic Forces. I mean, I freaking hope so. It shouldn't be too much of a difficult job.
I mean, the most
But
interesting-
anything can outdo Sonic Forces.
and I'm hoping we'll get to see Sonic going to alternate universes, or I'm hoping we'll get to see like an evil version of Sonic. I mean, like in that Doctor Strange movie where he meets an evil version of Doctor Strange.
Yeah, or bring back Scourge the Hedgehog.
We'll see
Yeah,
what
I was
they
about
do.
to say, I'm pretty sure Ken Penders thinks he owns the idea of an evil Sonic, so...
Well, I'm sure DX will just be like, yeah, well, fuck you, Penders.
Maybe
He's
it's
not
about
the
time
evil
McKenna tries to pick a fight he can't win. They shut him up for...
Well, technically, Super Sonic in Fleetway is an evil Sonic.
yes,
Oh, yeah.
pretty much.
There we go, yeah.
Alrighty. So, let's see. On the agenda for today, we have Sonic X. Our final thoughts on Sonic Frontiers, because it's the last three. We're still Sonic Frontiers virgins. Next time we'll have to play the game. At least I hope so, unless something happens. And Melting Man prepared a nice little Halloween story for us again from the book. What book was it again?
Sonic and the Tales of Terror.
Tales of Terror. There we go. So that's what we got planned for today. So, shall we begin with Sonic X, the finale of Season 2?
Alright.
Or do we want to do the spooky stuff first?
You're implying that the finale of Season 2 is not spooky.
Oh, well, I have to admit that
Right.
episode 51 is the perfect Halloween episode. Nothing but Sonic and Chris. What a more scary way to start Halloween, I guess.
Yeah, Chris the serial kidnapper.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Who wants to do the synopsis of episode 51, The Chris Show? Silence? I guess it's my job this time. Alrighty, so we start with a flashback. We get the kitty Chris, who looks kind of creepy. So, I mean, maybe one day we should just make an edit of all these episodes and make it look like a horror movie, because a lot of the scenes with Chris are kind of spooky. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a possibility because someone managed to make it, was able to do the opposite to, was it The Shining? Where they basically turned it from like a horror movie into sort of like a cheerful family type movie.
Ah, nice.
So,
I always love
so we
when
could-
they do
yeah.
that.
Wacky things at the Overlook Hotel.
Exactly. What a fun time. Anyway, yeah, Chris feels sorry for himself because it's Christmas and he only gets big presents from his maid, but his parents aren't there, so he compares himself with the fairy tale with the girl freezing to death in the cold, because his plight is pretty much the same. We get more flashbacks of the previous episode where Chuck had to say goodbye to Tails and everyone, and of course Chris, who wants to be with Sonic forever, decides to stop them returning to their home and willingly risk the safety of the entire planet to kidnap Sonic and take him along. He's surprisingly strong and managed to take Sonic along, although I guess Sonic just cooperates. And so we begin our big, giant, epic journey across the American landscape. We get some pretty good landscape shots. In terms of landscapes, I love this episode. But yeah, Chris and Sonic, they're running around, and nothing much happens. Chris decides to steal a bicycle to get away from his parents before they send in the helicopters to chase him. He stops with Sonic at a diner, and, just try to figure out where to go. Apparently they're in Colorado. And there's nice fake American alternative universe. Anyway, yeah, Chris' parents are worried, so they sent the military after him, being all melodramatic about it. So Sonic decides the best way to hide from the helicopters is by sitting right on top of on a truck. So of course then the helicopters can't see him. But yeah, so they keep moving around, they climb the mountains, we get some more wonderful shots, them walking around a rail track, them climbing mountains, they going to deserted train tracks. It's really beautiful landscapes. I love it. And they have a little talk. For the first time in the whole series, Chris actually asks Sonic to talk about his actual planet, his actual world. A bit late to finally start caring about the alien that's living with him, but there you go, that's Chris for you. But anyway, the reason of the goal for their big trip is that Chris wanted to go to a vacation home where the last time his parents ever cared for him, as he remembered it. A nice vacation where they just spent the time on the lake. So vacation home number 3 in this series so far, I guess. Lucky kid. Anyway, yeah, the parents, they are still concerned they even want to buy an entire toy section of a store for him, but then finally Chris's grandpa Chuck finally tells them off and tells them that maybe his love shouldn't be bought, but they should actually care for Chris, even though I think they already did that, but whatever. So they finally remember where Chris is supposed to be, so they go after them, while Chris and Sonic spend some time at the home, where they kind of break stuff and have a nice talk to them at the fireworks, where Chris finally asks why Sonic is willing to risk the safety of the entire universe just to placate Chris's needs. So Sonic just tells him, well, I'm doing what you want because you saved my life once. And that's the wrong answer to boyfriend Chris. He was really upset that Sonic does it out of obligation instead of true love. But yeah, if you save Sonic's life once, then I guess Sonic is obligated to just do whatever you want. I think Amy also saved him once, so if she knew that, she can abuse his system. But anyway, Chris eventually realizes that what he's doing is wrong. And with that, he finally gives Sonic permission to go home. Now, how Sonic gets home, we don't learn, but eventually Chris's parents find Chris, and Sonic is gone. End episode. So that's pretty much this episode all about. So, anyone has any thoughts?
Well, I was just going to say insert horror music here with Chris being all alone at the lake. Like, I did it. I killed him.
Yeah, insert Friday the 13th music. Yeah.
It's so easy to edit this into a horror movie, yeah.
Now he'll be a part of me forever.
Good old Chris.
So,
yeah, Captain, go ahead.
you mentioned something about Christmas?
Yeah, that's a flashback at the beginning. There wasn't any American
Okay,
version?
so it was not, no.
Yeah, in the English dub, that whole scene with like, oh, Chris's parents are leaving, and Chris is like, oh, if I be nice, will you come back quickly? And like, oh, sure. And then they don't come back. Ella drops off the presents. So yeah, we do get a little bit of that, like only in a brief flashback, and like much later in the episode in the English dub. But yeah, it's in the Japanese version. There's this different opening.
All right.
Interesting.
I was kind of amused how he compares himself with a fairy tale of the little girl dying in the snow.
Oh, yeah,
Yes, speaking of, so the little matchstick girl.
That's the one, yeah.
It's so weird because like supposedly that's like a really popular Christmas story, but I've only ever heard of it through anime.
I think I've seen, well, the adaptation I'm kind of more familiar with was the Disney adaptation, which apparently that was a short that was only available on the Disney Little Mermaid DVD, but yeah, it's nice. It's a pretty sad story, but yeah.
I know I learned about something horrifying involving matchstick girls, because they have to work with a very deadly chemical called phosphorus, which does horrible things to their jaw. It makes them like rot away or something. It's really gruesome.
As if that fairy tale wasn't depressing enough, jeez. That's probably why it's not so popular in America. You don't like fairy tales with bad endings. It's kind of difficult to give this a one happy ending. Send a tale
exactly, but it is weird that this like Danish fairy tale is so popular in Japan, of all places.
Yeah, well, then again, they have a bit of an interest in Europe because we're all so sophisticated and all that, supposedly.
Yeah, I remember when I was on my vacation to Japan, and my sister kind of told me, like, yeah, they're really big into fairy tales. We went to, like, several stores with books and whatnot, and yeah, they definitely had a lot of sections of, tales of fairy tales, like, like traditional Japanese fairy tales and other fairy tales that are familiar around the world.
I'm so might be why Japan has a theme park based on the Netherlands. Just here, building from the Netherlands.
It might be why we got, like, Japanese video games like based on like The Legend of Zelda and Dragon Quest, as they seem to be heavily influenced by fairy tales.
Of course, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention, they always love fantasy stuff indeed, but a lot of anime tend to go about Europe and all that. Or at least I see that. Maybe not so often as I think, but yeah, I guess we just are the fairy tale continent or something.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird with this whole flashback scene of young Chris with the presents and whatnot. It's like, oh, he's feeling all alone, and then I'm like, well, okay, well, what about Chris and Tandy? Why don't they count? And then I kind of figured, like, okay, well, maybe the parents being neglected, maybe that caused him to be like very antisocial, and that's why he became so attached to Sonic when he showed up. But I don't know.
Yeah, I guess
that's definitely that's definitely an issue I have with this episode. Is that like Chris? So he has this like fear that if Sonic goes away, Chris will just be alone forever again. But like, he has these 3 human friends that he spends a lot of time with.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why he thinks he'd be alone.
Yeah, I guess they're not worthy, but yeah, they get so little screen time, so he doesn't seem to care much about them. Then again, Chris also doesn't give any damn about any of Sonic's friends. Like, he had absolutely no reaction to Tails or Knuckles or Amy ever.
One thing I want to point out is like how Sonic is totally fine of staying with Chris and like hanging out, going along with the kidnapping, saying, "I'm being kidnapped." Oh, okay then. Yeah, I'll go along with it. It's like he's developing Stockholm syndrome.
Oh, jeez.
I kind of like it to a degree because now this is his personality is already established before, how carefree he is, and just kind of goes with the flow. So it's kind of interesting to see it in a different context. But so to a degree, it's not completely out of character. But it is kind of weird, yeah. Like, oh, you're dooming your planet, and he's just not really reacting to it. It's just like, okay, I guess this is
it was
happening.
the movie version of Sonic, like he's being kidnapped. I was like, "Where are you taking me? I want to go home. Stop it!"
Then again, at that point, he can't go back anymore because as soon as the portal is closed, it doesn't work anymore for some reason. Because can't they just shoot the arc again? But
but I think it's
only once.
Yeah, I think it's only implied in the Japanese version that they can't activate the portal anymore. In the English dub, it's just, I hope he comes back and knows what he's doing, that kind of thing.
Oh, only in the Japanese version they say they can't go back.
Yeah, it's only in the Japanese version.
All right, fair
Yeah, in the English dub, they say something along the lines of, we won't have much time.
Oh, so that still implies they can use the portal, even though the next episode shows they don't use it. But yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's for next episode.
There's also another thing I want to point out. My microphone was a bit funny at the time, like the bit where we see Chris smiling at the lake and you don't see Sonic anywhere. I was like, did Chris just straight up drown him?
Yeah, especially with that face, it's like that smile he gives is like
now
very
we
worrying.
need is an extra scene where he like falls back into the water and drowns. There, now we're together, Sonic, in death forever.
And you see like Sonic's floating corpse in the background.
Yeah, like
It ends
Sonic
where
went
it
back
started, underwater.
Nice and dark, yeah. Anyway, yeah, to a degree, the story about his parents being more obsessed with their jobs and caring for the kids is decent story enough, but I don't think it really works here because Chris's parents are already shown to really care about him. Like, if the parents are really portrayed to constantly be like, okay, not now, Chris, I'm busy, just go play with someone else, like, then this would have been more powerful. But in every episode where we see Chris's parents, they always love him. It's just like, oh, they're not always there, but when they're there, they always pay full attention to him. So this episode, it kind of takes the wind out of the sails for this episode.
Yeah, the series does a very clunky job with trying to portray like, oh, Chris's parents are always busy and him feeling alone, yada yada.
I mean, yeah, they are busy, but again, it's not like, oh, the parents are completely disconnected from Chris. So this,
Yeah,
this
and in
whole...
fact, there was that time where Mrs. Thorndike left the movie studio to go take care of Chris when he had a slight cold.
Exactly,
So,
yeah, stuff like that.
They're willing to drop everything just to be with Chris.
Absolutely. And she took Chris along with a film shoot as well in one episode.
Yeah.
So all that stuff makes this episode not really have any power to it.
True.
It just makes Chris look like a spoiled little brat.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
I mean,
kind of
especially because in the fact, he could simply just have said, can we just spend a bit of time together, please? As opposed to just staying mute about it and saying oh, they're never here for me, sort of thing.
Especially since then he also has Mr. Tanaka and I can't remember her name, but
Hello.
Ella, exactly.
Ella.
Them at home as parental surrogates, blah, blah, blah,
servants.
replacements. So again, his complaints, I kind of sympathize with him, but on the other hand, it's so weak. It doesn't really have any punch. And like you already said, then there's Danny and Helen and poor girl I never remember because he.
I did like the bit with
Francis.
Chuck calling
Francis.
calling out the parents.
Francis, yeah. Sorry, what was it, Luke?
I did like the bit with Chuck calling out the parents and what they've been doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a nice scene.
It was a pretty cool scene, yeah. But yeah, like I said, it doesn't really have any punch. But
If we look at this episode like by itself, it's really well done.
yes,
Like because the parents are acting neglectful and insensitive, and like Chuck calls them out on that. And like if we just go by what happens in this episode, we could believe Chris is this neglected child. And it's actually a very well done story. It's just that we know that his parents really do care for him and will like be there for him when he needs them, even when he doesn't need them. So,
Yeah. I mean, at least they're a lot better than Scootaloo's parents, I can tell you that much.
oh jeez.
as you go. And they had their own big flaws that they keep like buying Chris love rather than spend more time with him. Although they do show actual love, so it's not as punchy as the writers expect it to be, I guess.
So yeah, in a vacuum, this episode is great because like Chris does have like legitimate reasons to fear being alone, but like so much of what this show has established completely deteriorates that idea.
Mhm.
And there's so many little.
and-
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
And also, like Sonic himself acted very weird in this episode at first, because like, you know, Chris is endangering the entire world just for selfish reasons, and Sonic seems completely okay with this.
He just goes
And
along with
he's
it.
like, he's not only going along with it, he's like actively helping. And it's especially weird because like at times Chris seems not only ungrateful, he seems antagonistic towards Sonic. Like
Yeah.
Sonic tries to help him when he trips, and Chris just angrily says, "Oh, I don't need your help."
Yeah. And he steals a bicycle from a poor kid. I mean, they couldn't
He's-
make an excuse it was already thrown away, but Chris didn't know that.
Oh yeah, the whole bike scene. It's kind of weird how it's done in both versions. Like in the English dub, I think it's like, "Oh, mom, where's my bike? Oh, I put it out in the street so someone could use it."
What?
It's like what? Yeah, it's like yeah, that's
Okay,
still this
so-
kid's bike.
No. So here's how it went. Like the kid says, "Hey, someone took my old bike," and his mom says, "Oh, your dad took it into the city. They figured somebody could use it."
Yeah, 'cause in the Japanese version, it's a bit different. Where it's like, "Hey, where's my bike?" It's like, "Oh, we bought you a new one, remember?" And it's like, "Oh yeah."
Just
That's the one way to get rid of old bikes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, very convenient that they found the one abandoned bike in the city.
yeah, because just as easily you could have stolen a bike that someone was still planning to use.
Yeah, or just stolen a car with the keys inside.
Why not? Yeah.
You know how to drive, Chris? No, but who cares? Whee!
There's also this moment where like helicopters start going after Tails and Chris, or Sonic and Chris, and Sonic asks Chris like, "You ready to give up?" And Chris just becomes even more determined to doom everyone. And so Sonic
Yeah.
runs out in front of a truck, almost gets run over, gives the driver a heart attack, and then hitches a ride with him.
Yeah, he's that determined for that one thing we all know we're thinking of. Yeah, I want to impress Sonic with my skills. We'll have butt sex with me.
Oh, that sentence can be very well used in both these episodes we watched. Jeez, it's pretty much a part of both episodes, yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. And that you mention it.
Everyone's so
That
upset.
So-
explains Chris's grin.
But yeah, it kind of bothers me
Uh,
that this is the first time Chris asked about Sonic's world. I mean, you never asked him or anyone else. I mean, Cream and Vanilla were always sitting in the living room or eating dinner with you. You never asked them, like, "Hey, aliens, tell us about your alien world." Like, you're really that uninterested in any of them?
Yeah, there is
Surprised
a,
no- I was
Yeah,
about
there
to say,
is-
like, surprised there's no point where Sonic just responds like, "Really? It took you 52 episodes just to ask me that question?"
Yeah, you'd think that happened in the Japanese version, but nope.
Nope.
That is kind of interesting. Like, I think the whole deal of Chris asking about Sonic's plan, I think that happens like at the campsite. But in the Japanese version, when they're like climbing the mountain and whatnot, then you hear the characters' like thoughts from like a past conversation when they talk about Sonic's planet. So I don't know, I think that kind of worked better in the Japanese version in a way.
Yeah, gets more information across, and I can focus more on the heart-to-heart during the campfire scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Sonic in this episode acted very strangely, but like we find out towards the end why, and it's because like he is trying to teach Chris a lesson, but like trying to get Chris to figure it out for himself that he needs to do what's right over what he wants. And so that's handled very well. Like, Sonic was being surprisingly mature about that. But he's putting a lot of faith in Chris's ability to be reasoned with.
But yeah, Sonic is really a psychologist, pretty much. Like he sounds like.
Well, of course, he can do everything.
Yeah, predating psychology Sonic from that scene in the first Sonic movie.
Oh yeah.
Oh right, yeah.
The counterpart to Dr. Mario.
Dr. Mario and Psychiatrist Sonic.
Psychiatrist Sonic.
I want that game. Because plenty of Sonic's friends do need some mental help. That'll be something. But it'll never happen.
At least there's fan games.
Fair enough.
The only other detail about this episode I kind of wanted to bring up was like when Chris is finally accepting that Sonic needs to go, Sonic tells him to just look up at the moon because it looks the same from both worlds, and it pans up to the moon that is currently half robotic.
Yeah, I was waiting for a payoff to that, but it never came.
Yeah, so like, does that seem to imply that in Sonic's world, their moon is also half roboticized?
No, because we see it in the next episode and it's perfectly fine there. So I was waiting for that.
Yeah.
That would have been interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is a payoff to the whole talk about the moon in the
Was
next
it a
episode.
bullshit thing that Izuka says that, the reason the moon's okay in later installments because it's actually behind or something?
Yeah,
It's
the moon is
facing the good side. Yeah, that was his excuse.
facing the good side, which is dumb. That's not how gravity works.
That's not how the moon works.
That's just
How
Suzuka
Izuka's
just pulling
minds work.
stuff out of his ass.
Kind of funny how Sonic X is a way better continuity than the games do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Womp womp.
Oh, we also find out what state Chris lives in, which is Colorado.
Oh, excellent.
I love all these different names with Sanver. Although the Rio Grande doesn't have a different name. What a shame.
It's
Rio
Michigan.
Grande.
Although I like to think that Chris does live in Los Angeles and just bicycled all the way to Colorado.
Los Angeles.
Yeah, it's kind of a bit of a road trip movie because it's like, like how many days were they out there? Like, I know there was a night scene, and then kind of feels like the whole place takes in the day.
I think it's meant to take place in one day, but I love to think it took some months. Why not?
I'd say it takes weeks.
Sure, why not? But yeah, like I said, I love the pictures. It's a really good advertisement for advocation in America. It's like, go cross tracking. Plenty of nice shots. But yeah, the captain's disappointed it didn't take place in
Montana.
his state, Montana.
Yeah.
It would have nice
I mean,
shots of Montana.
based on my map from earlier in the series, where it showed like the United States, it looked like Chris's house was in North Dakota or so close to Montana.
Yeah, maybe he did go from Dakota all the way to Colorado. That was one heck of a bicycle trip. Jeez.
Yeah. He's got them thunder thighs from all that pedaling.
There we go.
Thunder, 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 thighs.
I guess we have to assume Sonic gave him a push.
Yeah,
Yeah, anything else about this episode?
I suppose one thing though, but it's only just something that I only just like noticed, and is like is the railway tracks and how there's one set of points where it's like almost straight on, like 45 degrees, And I'm just like, no wonder the railway's closed if that's how their structure is, all Minecraft-like.
Oh yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah. I mean, that probably just shows like how bored I was at the time. That I was paying more attention to the railway line than Sonic and Chris.
Just waiting for Thomas the Tank Engine to come by and run them over.
The American Thomas.
Yeah, so it's like, come on, train, where are you? Squash them.
Yeah.
I also,
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I also noticed that those train tracks were really not up to code. They're just sitting on grass. The ground is not paved or leveled at all.
Yeah, it must be like some kind of a I think it is like an abandoned train station and whatnot. Because like the station that they were stopping at to eat, it looks pretty rusted and not well taken care of.
Either that or severe budget cuts.
I also think it's implied it's only an industrial train track and not a passenger one. Considering this station was in the middle of nowhere with only some industrial buildings around. But yeah, there you go. An episode so exciting. We're more interested in the train track history of Sonic X than Sonic and the Chris relationship.
There we go.
Still, the episode was better than I anticipated. Man, last time I was really worried. Like, oh, the whole episode with Sonic and Chris. Oh no, but it was decent enough.
Yeah, it was definitely better than I remembered it being. It was a lot more tolerable, and again, like if we look at it by itself, it's actually a really good episode.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's standalone.
Yeah.
In a vacuum. Right, the next episode. Captain, you want to do the synopsis?
All right.
Oh, poor Luke.
Sorry, Luke. I called dibs
Did
on
Luke
this
want to
one.
do this one?
Well, who called dibs first for it?
I thought it was the captain that called dibs on it.
I'll make you a deal. I called dibs on the cold open. You can have the rest of it if you want.
Okay.
Okay. So
Team up.
there we go. So this episode starts back on Sonic's world, and Eggman has come to make an announcement. Shadow the Hedge. I mean, he is going to take over the world. You will. Sorry, hold on.
You will be happy to know you are victims of a robbery.
And yeah, so Amy is currently at Cream and Vanilla's house, or sorry, the house of Cream's mom. Eggman gets on Amy's bad side by like Deco and Boko taunt her by saying she's the reason Sonic hasn't come back because she scared him off, and she just freaking chucks her hammer so hard it just embeds itself into the egg carrier, which is such a fantastic moment. I love it. This was actually Amy was on an episode of Death Battle, and they calculated this would have taken at least 2 tons of force. It was
Funny to get
amazing.
to see Hammer Space in action too, where she just conjures up a hammer out of thin air.
And I love when Amy gets pissed and Cream and Vanilla immediately just batten down the hatches.
Yeah, Amy's a hothead, but now she's on fire.
All right.
English version.
All right, so Luke, you can have the rest.
Okay, well, basically, then you also got Knuckles and Rouge arguing with each other like a married couple. And then you got Tails turning up in his tornado because he was pissed because Eggman's rambling at 1 a.m. woke him up. But Chuck also installed some things into his plane to like give him some extra firepower. But it's like no use. And Tails is like, oh, I'm done for. And then suddenly the most bullshit thing happens when Sonic manages to come back as Super Sonic via the moon. And I'm like, how the hell does that happen? So he's okay. He turns up and Eggman says, hey, you're back. So then Sonic destroys Robotnik's machine. He flies off. Rouge and Knuckles continue arguing, but then they make up and they might do. I think they're doing something a bit raunchy, if you get my drift. And then suddenly we get like an 80s themed anime music video where Super Sonic appears to Amy, and she's like, "Oh, he's back!" And he runs up to Sonic, and she's crying her eyes out, and Sonic gives her a flower, and there's like some other songs going on, and then we also got adult Chris, because Chris and all his friends, this is set in the future now, they're all adults now, and they're all now a scientific research team, like they're making something, like they're trying to recreate Chaos Control or something, so he could be reunited with Sonic. And then we get another music video thing where we see like how Sonic got back to his world by using only 2 Chaos Emeralds to become Super Sonic. And he says, "Goodbye, Chris, goodbye, goodbye," at the end.
I love when we suddenly get final flashbacks. The first flashback you get is Shadow beating the shit out of Chris. I don't know why that's the first memory he goes through.
Happy music over it.
Yeah, of course, that's like the Japanese version. The English dub, it's a different scene with Chris and Shadow.
Yeah. It's like,
but I just want to bring up the thing about the moon. So, like, you're telling me that Sonic could have used the moon the whole time to get back home by being supersonic?
Yeah, apparently you touch the moon when you teleport to the other dimension.
That's like a Wizard of Oz thing, like saying, "Oh, you had the ability to go home the whole time. You can use the moon."
It didn't actually have to teleport to the other planet too when you built the second half of the moon. Then, oh, yeah, sorry.
But now I'm just imagining, like, yeah, Sonic uses the moon to teleport back to his world, but it's like the middle side, and the middle side goes back with him. So now Chris's world is back, stuck with half the moon again.
That would have been funny too. Yeah.
Yeah,
it was kind of set up because they keep making references to, the moon is the same in our both worlds. But yeah, you think that they mean that symbolic, but then in this episode it's revealed it's literally, apparently. Although again,
that's what I'd say. If the moon is a portal to another world, does that mean that I'm surprised we didn't see like lost NASA spaceships and maybe old astronauts walking around in Sonic's world?
Well, didn't in Sonic OVA movie Star Trek Enterprise is Tills' base? Maybe that got teleported through the moon as well. So I guess Sonic OVA
maybe that's all the planes are as well.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's where Emilio Earhart ended up.
Exactly.
Oh, jeez.
He accidentally used the Chaos Emerald to power an airplane and flew into the moon. And got teleported here. Sure, why not? So yeah, this episode is interesting. We finally get a look at the actual Anthro world, actually a city in Sonic's world, so that's kind of neat. And I'm kind of weirded out that the only civilians we see are Flickies, like implying they are actually the ones living in the buildings.
Well, we see Flickies and Rickies and I think a Walrus character in there.
Yeah, I just call them all Flickies for the convenience.
Yeah,
I don't know what else to call them.
The Walrus is called Rocky, by the way.
Ah, yeah.
Oh, you wanted to say something? Sorry.
No.
Oh.
No, I was just saying, like, Ricky and Flicky and whatnot. Like, I just grouped all those as just refer to them as just animal critters.
Fair enough. But yeah, I never see them as the actual people from Sonic's universe, but apparently they are, so it's kind of weird to me.
Maybe they're just the kid. Maybe they're just the kids of that universe, and we just haven't seen the more older ones outside of the Sonic cast.
I think the official term. I think the official term for them is animal friends.
Lame name, but speaking of lame names, the House of Cream's mom. I'm surprised it isn't the House of Sonic's friend's mom or something, because it has Sonic seems like they always are.
Yeah, it's only in the Japanese version where we get this extra shot of like the outside of the house, and of course that's where the infamous "The House of Cream's mom" sign came from.
But the other sign is even better in the American version, because they didn't cut that one out. You get this big close up of a sign that says nothing. That made me laugh so hard. So look at this sign. It's like, what about it?
It's just a random blank sign. Yeah, it's just a random blank sign in the American version. In the Japanese version, it says the House of Amy Rose. So yeah,
like, not the House of Fred.
And then in the beginning of the episode, Cream wanted Amy to stay with her.
Yeah,
that's only in the English dub. The Japanese version is very different from how it does it.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was the same, but what happened in Japan?
Oh, no, it's very different. So, like, in the American version, it's all like, "Oh, Amy, do you want to stay with us?" It's like, "Thanks, but I'm fine on my own." And then, "Oh, Sonic's back, It's like, "Oh, Sonic, what took you so long? I missed you." And Sonic's like, "Oh, don't worry, Amy, you know I'd come back." So, in the Japanese version, that whole scene with Cream and Amy in the house, they're talking about, like, "Oh, have you made your decision?" And it's not quite clear in what it is exactly until it's revealed, like, much later when Amy Amy rushes back to her house where Sonic is, and she reveals that she was going to make the decision of, either to move on from, Sonic thinking that he'll never come back, or like wait forever for Sonic to come back. It's like, oh, I promised that I would wait for you forever, even if I became old, and then you suddenly came back, you idiot. Hey, at least say you love me.
That made me laugh so hard because he implies he wants Sonic to go away again. I just want to make a decision that I was gonna wait forever. You're back. Get back. Go away. I want to wait forever, you idiot.
So, and then, Sonic hands her the flower. So, of course, in the English dub, there's dialogue. But, interesting enough, in the Japanese version, after the whole, like, oh, Sonic, at least say you love me, then gives her the flower. And then the audio is purposely muted. So, you only see Sonic and Amy's mouths move, but there's no audio, except for, like, the song playing in the background.
Yep. But yeah, in the American version, they don't really have a song, just a regular background sound.
Yeah, it's just a generic song.
Yeah.
Here, they replay the song that used to play at the end credits for, like, I think it was half Season 1, Season 2. Da 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 da. Yeah, that song.
Amy Love song, I guess. Yep. Yeah, anyone else has something to say about the Dole
Yes.
Talon? Yeah, go ahead.
So, Eggman is kind of hilarious in this episode because, like, there's always been, like, this codependent relationship between Sonic and Eggman where they need each other, but, like, it's on full force here because Eggman is just flying around, constantly threatening to take over the world and hoping for Sonic to show up. And, like, he ends up waking up Tails during this. And Eggman's like, you want Sonic back too, you should be helping me.
Got no audio
And
now.
Tails is not having it. He's like, I'd never help you. He's being very unreasonable and uncooperative. I think the funniest part of that interaction, though, is during the fight between Tails and Eggman. Tails, like, pulls the transformation button, and, like, something he didn't expect happens, and, like, Chuck has this pre-recorded message for him, which is, like, very heartfelt and stuff like, oh, I'm not as brilliant of an engineer as you. And all of this is happening while Tails is fighting for his life.
Yeah.
This message is programmed to go off when Tails is in danger.
I know you're in danger, but it's the perfect time for us to have a conversation for a bit.
There's also a bit of a funny moment where Robotnik sends a missile after Tails. And it's like, oh, I think he's learned his lesson. Just use his self-destruct. I don't really want to kill him. And one of the robots like, right. And it said, you did put the self-destruct mechanisms in it. And it said, no, I forgot. You what?
Yeah, that's so weird that it's played out in both versions. Like, the American version, it's worded differently. It's like, oh, just hit the recall button. Like, wait, there is no recall button. What?
And also, I just love his expression. Like, he just shat himself. Like, oh, dear. Oh, dear.
Yeah. I loved that because, like, Eggman... I love Sonic X Eggman having this soft side for his enemies, and like this, it's on full display here because he's like genuinely upset that he's going to kill Tails. With Sonic gone, I can't afford to lose another enemy.
I want to do a bit here. It's like, the self-destruct mechanism. The self-destruct mechanism decided specifically to set off the missile's self-destructive system. That self-destruct system. Yes, that self-destruct mechanism.
Yeah, because American version kind of plays up more like, oh, I'll lose a rival if we do that. Yeah, but in the Japanese version, it's kind of played more straight. It's like, oh shit, we're gonna kill Tails for real. And it's kind of weird. It's that whole deal like in the Japanese version of the season 1 finale where Robotnik doesn't want to fight with Sonic anymore when the Robotnik loses control.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like, what is it with this conflicting opinion with Robotnik not wanting to actually kill his enemies, yet he, makes missiles and bombs that can actually kill people?
It's kind of confusing. Yeah, that's probably why the English version went for the more logical thing. But yeah, man, I absolutely love Eggman's plan in this episode. I love the one he's just petty. Especially in the Japanese version where he says, oh, the moon is beautiful. I'm just going to talk all night about my plans for building Eggman Empire. He's just an annoying neighbor. Man, I wish this is what Sonic Boom Eggman was like. Like, if you're going to play him as a bully or just an asshole, then this is so much funnier.
Ah, yeah, and then does that whole dance, yeah. When Japanese like, yeah, I'm gonna stay up all night long. Fever, dad. Like, yeah, what's fever? Well, how should I know? And then the American version is kind of played up more for a pun, like, oh, you better come soon, Sonic, otherwise the world will have to face the music. And then does the whole dance. And then it's like, what kind of dance is that? I think it's called the jerk.
But yeah, it's an awesome episode. And very good animation. It was more smooth than usual.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, because it was the
Some great
last.
face expressions. Like,
Yeah.
like they said, the cream of vanilla and Chow being all
Sorry, what
scared
were you
of-
saying, Euan?
I was just saying, like, obviously they had to put in a lot of effort because it was the quote-unquote final episode before, 4Kids said, like, no, we need more of this. Sonic's popular. We must keep going. Go, 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 go.
Oh, yeah.
Technically, this is the good finale, yeah.
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 But yeah, I like the scenes with cream and vanilla and whatnot, despite the weird sign. And I've heard somewhere that the reason why it's called that is because apparently in the show, none of the characters actually referred to vanilla by name.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah,
That's
not
how
referred
little
to by
they care
name
about the
for her.
side characters. Ouch.
It's kind of like how in the UK comic The Beano, Dennis's parents don't have actual proper names. They're actually called Dennis's dad and Dennis's mum.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
that happens often. I mean, that's with almost all Cartoon Network shows as well. I mean,
Yeah, they also did
Dexter's
that with,
parents also don't have a name, and
same
Jacob's
with-
parents don't have a name and a face.
Yeah. And Fairly Odd Parents, yeah, like Timmy Turner's dad, yeah.
And I love the joke from that is the time Timmy goes back in time and he automatically greets his dad with dad, only for it to be revealed that his nickname is Dad.
Yeah.
How cool is
It's like,
that?
yeah, it's like, well, that's my nickname. My real name is, and then a bus drives by. It's like, but everyone calls me Dad.
And the same thing for Timmy's mom.
Yeah.
Of course. Gotta love cartoon logic like that, yeah. Anyway, yeah, anything else? Anyone wants to comment on Till's beautiful sleeping wear?
So, something I naturally have to bring up is after Supersonic shows up and completely obliterates Eggman's giant mechs with zero effort, the first place he goes is Amy's house.
Yeah, that is typical.
Yeah, unless it's the American version where it's just random house.
Blank.
Well, in the version I watched on YouTube, the sign was not blank, so it was still Amy's house.
Yeah, I think that probably must have been a fan edit, because I've seen the Hulu version I've seen, it still leaves the sign blank in the American version.
Yeah, I
So-
guess Sonic knew all about Amy's feelings. Ah.
Yeah. So, and then, like, he gives her the flower and they hug. And I thought, this is a nice way to end the series. And then it cuts back to Chris's world.
But hey, at least it has Helen.
Yeah, we got to see adult Helen, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's so
And,
funny that
like,
Helen is
she's
always
up.
the main friend, more than Danny and...
And
Well, it's because she's
It's
that
funny
Sonic
because-
X character.
yes, definitely. Well, until season 3, that is. Yeah, it's funny because they're all talking about, like, oh, they're gonna build a machine to activate Chaos Control so that they can all go visit Sonic's world. And yeah, that doesn't work out.
Surprising they all decided to grow up to become scientific researchers.
Yeah.
Oh, they went to a rich school, so I guess... that gives them
And of course, this is the episode where they actually do refer to the other gal as Frances. I feel like bringing that up because Roger keeps forgetting that.
This is the only episode
Yeah.
where they bring up her name?
Well, one of them. I feel like there's a past episode somewhere where they mention her name Frances. But yeah, the last episode, they do mention her name Frances.
Wow, so that's twice more than Vanilla's name, I guess.
Yeah.
It's so funny to me. I was watching this and they're like, "Oh, I can't wait to go to Sonic's world," and I'm like, "None of you are going to go. You're not
Sad,
Chris Thorndike."
Yeah.
It's just a Chris Thorne
He's
show.
rich. He's got connections.
Yeah, because no one cares about older Francis and Michael Jackson. I mean, older Danny.
Oh,
Yeah, seriously, older Danny looks like Michael Jackson, just with
As
an
in
earring.
70s Michael Jackson.
Yeah, like the
Yeah.
older Michael Jackson.
But yeah, also talking about Knuckles and Rouge, I kind of found it interesting in the American version. They changed the sound effects that it more resembles that Rouge is winning the fight or the only one who's fighting, and Knuckles just kind of lets himself be beaten up. Guess they were uncomfortable with him fighting back. Well, in the Japanese version, it's more equal.
Oh yeah.
And yet at the end of the episode, they're both beat up.
Yeah.
I thought that was weird. I'm glad to know that Knuckles at least fought back in the Japanese version, because I thought it was kind of like, because Knuckles gets a bad rep in this show.
Yeah.
I didn't like him just being the victim of Rouge's abuse out of nowhere. So I'm glad he fought back.
Yeah, especially in that last shot when Rouge jumps on him, and in the American version, he's like, "Hey, that tickles," and I'm like, "Oh my!"
Yeah.
There's also a funny bit where, like, as Rouge mocks Knuckles by having his hair.
Oh yeah, that's in both versions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, show me some respect, Knuckles. Yeah.
Was it the American version also that Rouge had Knuckles' hair though for a bit?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what.
That's what he just said.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's what I just said. They're in both versions.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm tired, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything else about this episode?
I do like how badass Amy was, like with her hammer. She was like almost like Thor, really, using her hammer to smash into that thing, and she was like on fire. It was pretty awesome. I hope she acts like that, be like that if she's in Sonic the Movie 3.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, imagine if like her hammer works exactly like Mjolnir, where it just flies around and that.
Yeah.
Well,
She's the queen of the hammer throw.
she's got something better here. She's got hammers that magically appear in her hand. Like by the time Supersonic shows up, there's like 7 hammers strewn about the hull of his ship.
Oh, imagine if like she could recall her hammer like Thor and also Kratos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is the only series that actually kind of explains how Amy's able to like get her hammer back in situations. Like, oh, it magically appears because I think Archie Sonic did that once, but that's kind of a whole different backstory. But yeah, usually there's not really an explanation on how Amy loses her hammer and it somehow comes back.
Yeah, way back in the beach episode from season 1, I mentioned that like Amy is definitively stronger than Sonic. And this is definitely the moment that I was thinking of when I said that. Because she just, like, absolutely obliterates Eggman's ship with hammers. From, like, thousands of yards away, too.
Yeah.
Don't make her angry. Yep.
Yeah, and of course the interaction with the Cream reacting to this, where it's played a more for laughs in the American version, which I mentioned, but in the Japanese version it's more straight, where she's like, "Oh, Miss Amy, please calm down."
And in the American version, they have to make puns as usual.
Yeah, Amy's a hothead, but now she's on fire. Yeah.
American version loves puns. Speaking of American version, one thing I did wanted to mention all the way at the end, and we get Chris's lovely face. Like, the original Japanese series basically answered Chris screaming Sonic's name again. Like, Sonic! It's a hyper-dramatic way. But then the American version did want to do that as well, but they felt uncomfortable screaming it so loud, so they just have this very weird, like, Sonic! So it almost sounds erotic.
Yeah, Sonic!
You make it worse.
Sonic.
Sonic.
And then, of course, this scene contains the one scene that'll scare Sega. Sonic actually crying! The horror!
Yeah.
You don't really see him crying with these tears appearing, I guess.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, for the longest time, I kind of thought that maybe it was bad memory, but I thought that was like a scene that only happened in the Japanese version, but then it's like, nope, it's in both versions.
Yeah.
And that's how the series was originally going to end.
Yeah.
With Chris
Oh,
screaming
Chris.
Sonic's name.
Exactly.
Like a horror
Which
movie.
makes me wonder about like the foreshadowing of like adult Chris working on the machine to induce chaos control. Like, if this was supposed to be the last episode, why are they foreshadowing a future season?
I guess I just wanted to give it a happy ending. Like, oh, they might meet again later.
Yeah, so those kind of
I
endings,
guess,
yeah. And then for kids, it's like, no, make it happen now!
There's that one Sonic Shorts where the CEO of 4Kids is like, we need to make a spin-off of Chris Thorndike.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I guess
I
that-
remember that.
I guess that wasn't too far off from what happened.
Yeah, if only we had Sadie and Robotnik blowing up the people in real life.
Yeah. Then
Oh
when-
well, at least we have Sonic
Well-
Omens where we get the real finale with Chris dying, I guess.
Oh yeah, forgot
Oh yeah,
about
that
that.
bit. Yeah, I
He's
forgot. I
before
haven't
Sonic
played yeah, I haven't seen much of Sonic Omens, but when I heard that they suddenly threw in Chris Thorndike in there, it's like, okay, is this one of those like fan-made Sonic projects that's trying to cram in every kind of continuity into one thing? Because you know that kind of stuff that doesn't work.
Was that
Only
the
losers do
like
that,
Christie's grave or something?
Oh yeah.
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 I actually did like a small picture of Sonic reacting to seeing the grave of Chris, but I'm just wondering if I still got it somewhere.
All right, just send it
I think I
over.
did that before, like years ago on DeviantArt, where I just posted an image of like one of those gravestone text generators, and I think I wrote down like, "Oh, Chris, rip Chris, he got pushed down the stairs by a blue hedgehog."
Oh my god.
Yeah, there's a fan in
Euan.
there. Of course, you had to throw in that IDW Sonic meme in there.
Obviously, because it was still relevant at the time.
I thought you saw that meme of that guy doing a pose near a gravestone.
Oh yeah, that.
Oh,
thing,
yeah,
Or like the hang loose or whatever.
Yeah.
yeah.
There you go.
So the only other thing I kind of wanted to mention about this episode was the random flashback to like the times that Chris was like getting beat up.
Yeah,
And-
especially with Shadow. Like, what the hell is that all about?
Yeah. I don't know why they were there, but it did give me the opportunity to hear Jason Griffith as Shadow again, and I'm always down for that because oh my god, he's so much better than Kirk Thornton.
And although it is a bit odd that, like, when they show the flashback of, like, you know, what happens in the first episode, it's like, oh, Chris grabs Sonic out of the pool and they talk, and it's like, yeah, it's recycled audio from that episode and not, like,
Yeah.
redubbed.
Especially since they have already redubbed that scene.
Yeah. Like, what's up with that?
And worse, they didn't change the soundtrack, so now you actually get the soundtrack of the actual action scene rather than the.
And also
melancholy-
looking back at that scene of Sonic at the pool, he doesn't seem all that concerned that he's drowning. It's like, oh, better sit here and
Yeah.
drown, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, I hit a checkpoint not too long ago.
Well, I guess that ends our conversation. I'm looking for Sonic in the swimming pool, but yeah. Anyone else wants to say anything for a grand finale of Sonic X?
Can't think of much to say for the last episode of season 2.
Not really.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to season 3, and as I've said multiple times now, I will watch both the English and Japanese versions of season 3.
And so
Because
finally, so finally the captain can no longer be confused whenever I constantly bring up scenes that only happen in the Japanese version.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Though I do know one change in particular that was made in season 3 that I actually prefer the 4Kids version, because both versions have something I don't like, but the 4Kids one I dislike less.
And
And
foreshadowing there.
it's the Knuckles versus Shadow fight. So we'll get to that someday.
I guess so. So yeah, this is goodbye to the first 2 seasons, and from this point on, I'm gonna be entirely blind because I've never seen anything about season 3. I mean, I know
really?
some details through
Wow.
osmosis, but yeah, from Sonic
ready
Adventures
for a wild
adaptation
ride.
on, I lost interest in Sonic X originally.
But
yeah, I know
like
about Cosmo and all that, but what is that?
I guess in some ways season 3 is like half new to me because I vaguely remember catching like 1 or 2 episodes of the English dub in the season 3, but when it came to watching the entire run, I only seen the Japanese version, so I'm not quite familiar how it is in the English dub. But I know there's like huge changes to like tones and whatnot.
Yeah, I didn't learn about season 3 until like the very early days of YouTube when I saw like parody dubs and random clips of the series involving the Meta X, because I had no idea that Sonic X continue on from that long.
So it's going to be brand new for a lot of us. So that's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
But yeah, that concludes season 2. And man, I have to say, I'm so shocked that the Chaotix never showed up. Like, I really thought they were actually recurring side characters, but after the one episode, just immediately disappeared.
Yeah,
The finale.
at least they'll show up in season 3. But in season 2, yeah, they're only in there just to advertise Sonic Heroes.
And still a DVD player.
Of course, but only in the Japanese version.
In English version, they do nothing.
Yeah, they just read a newspaper, and that's when the flashbacks come in. Yeah.
Poor Chaotix. Their only episode is just a flashback episode. I'm not even about anything involving them. Oh well. So, time for a Halloween spooky story.
And
yes.
I guess that's my cue to leave.
Alrighty, Captain.
I will see you all in 2 weeks, and by then I will not be in Montana anymore, sadly.
Aww.
You're gonna be Californian.
I'm gonna be a Californian. Disgusting Californian.
Living where mice.
And we will discuss Sonic Frontiers. But until then, farewell!
Yeah, goodbye.
Alright, take care, mate.
Later.
Yeah, see ya.
Alrighty, just us. So, Melting Man, you want to do the synopsis of our Halloween story?
Yeah, might as well. Of course, first I'll give a quick context. So, Sonic and the Tales of Terror. It's part of a duology of young kids' books, with the other one being Sonic and the Tales of Deception. So, last year, we covered a story called Hunt of the Werehog, which acted like a sequel to Sonic Unleashed. So, this year, I decided to pick out Night of the Unliving. So this story is about, there's a strange spaceship with a meteorite that crashes into Earth that's trying to, drill itself into the ground, and Sonic and his friends are like, oh, what's with this thing here? And then Sonic jumps in and is like, oh, don't worry, I'll stop it. So he breaks open the saucer and barely breaks the meteor, which explodes and covers Sonic's friends in this weird goop. So it's like, oh, we better get, hosed down and make sure we're not infected by anything. And Sonic's like, yeah, you do that, because he was fast enough to avoid it. So time goes by, and Sonic notices that his friends have been acting very strange. Like, Cream has become super strong, bending huge chunks of metal into 2x4s or something. Amy's making all these charts in her room, and Big is acting all strange. It's like, oh, and everyone's just like, oh, join us. So he rushes over to Tails, who's been experimenting on the meteorite that he's carefully preserved, and he's Sonic figures out, oh, there's something in this weird goop that's contaminated my friends into weird zombies. So Tails talks about, oh, I've invented this megaphone that could help us out, but then he starts acting weird. It turns out, oh, he accidentally touched the meteorite he was experimenting on, so now he's mindless zombie. So then Sonic grabs the device, and he's pretty much on his own to try and figure out how to stop this whole mess. And see, I'm trying to remember the end. Oh yeah, so he makes it to the spear, because that's where everyone's trying to gather around to call upon the rest of their supposed meteor clan to come down to Earth. So Sonic kind of tries to act along and gets through the crowd, and then he starts becoming contaminated. And thanks to a memo from Tails, he slowly manages to activate the thing to defeat the meteor, as he slowly becomes corrupted by the green slime. And then he activates the machine, he blacks out, and then he's up in the hospital with his hands all bandaged up. And he's like, oh, good job reading my memo, Sonic. You managed to crank up the polarity or something to drive all the energy, so that the meteor was too much for it to handle. So then it just ends with, yeah, well, you've managed to survive, Sonic, but your hands are bandaged up, so now you have to wait a while to heal up. And Sonic's like, waiting's the one thing I don't like doing. And then it ends.
So yeah, I guess this is a beta version of the metal zombie plot of IDW.
Yeah, it's weird, because I think this book came out right around IDW started, but this predates the whole Metal Virus arc.
Inspirational?
Just a popular
Who knows?
Yeah, I don't have much to say about it. I love the illustrations.
Yeah.
I also love it's the Tails Garage from Sonic Adventure again. Nice bit of
Illustrations by Patrick Spazinet. Good old Spaz from the days of Archie Sonic.
Yup.
Yeah, he's a really great artist. He can pretty much emulate any kind of Sonic style, like adventure style, Sonic Battles, Sonic the Fighters, classic, anything.
Yeah. Man, Cream looks awesome as he's evil. And of course, cheese. But yeah, I don't know. Not much to say about this one. It's fun.
Yeah, well, I do think it's kind of interesting. Like in one of the illustrations, we see all these other Mobians that we never see. It's like, oh, these random characters that, like, okay, so this is like a place where it's populated. Because yeah, it's not that often we see Mobian civilians in other areas. It's just like the comics, and that's it.
Pretty
Maybe,
much, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, in
Okay,
this
Sonic
picture,
Boom's
you
there,
see
but,
two characters. One looks like Jet, and the other looks like Storm, but I don't see Wave. That's kind of like a surprise.
yeah, the duck kind of almost looks like Bean the Dynamite.
Oh, it's supposed to be. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. Maybe I was thinking maybe it was one of the ducks from Till's Adventure, but
Oh yeah, the Battlebird Armada. Yeah,
could have been. Oh well. Bean also makes more sense.
yeah. The one on the right kind of looks more like Rouge's cousin in a way.
Who knows? Maybe she has a bunch of family
Uh,
members.
Yeah, her name is Sapphire.
Sure, why not?
Oh
Ruby the Bat.
yeah, Rube. Nails the Bat. Yeah, on the original name.
Oof, poor Sonic and the Tales of Terror. I don't think anyone's inspired to talk about this one. Poor
I
Melting
mean, it's
Man.
probably interesting.
Yeah,
Could be
that
an
kind of
interesting
sucks. I
piece.
feel like Captain might have said a few things, but yeah.
Yeah.
Instead, you got me and Luke being tired and you and not having anything to say.
No,
Well, we did start this stream much later than usual.
Yep.
obviously.
Although, yeah, this picture of like a rock in a flying a UFO made me laugh.
Yeah, it's like kind of makes you wonder, like, how the heck is that even controlling the spaceship? It must be like mind control or something. Or maybe there actually is a steering wheel and it's just not moving, and he just crash landed it.
Almost feels like a joke, like Big the Cat finds a UFO and just puts a rock in there. Like, hey, buddy, you know you can sit here over here. And then it just flies off. Like, huh? How is that rook capable of doing that? It's like a nice surreal joke. Yeah, that made me laugh.
Yeah. Yeah, well, at least the story has a good amount of illustrations. Because, like, last year I had to make up some since there wasn't much for the Hunt of the Werehog story.
Nope. Guess the artist didn't like drawing Werehog. Poor Captain.
Poor
Can't say anything.
Spaz.
But they love drawing zombies, so there you go.
Yeah.
Evil Big
Yeah.
the Cat.
Mm,
Wait, what are you saying, Luke?
Sorry.
Just blacked out for a minute.
yeah.
Now Luke is gone again.
Yeah.
Lucas.
He's
Yeah.
experiencing mic problems, apparently.
All connection issues again.
Ah, yeah.
Whichever one it is.
Ah, yeah. Zombie Big attacking Sonic, yeah. You'd think with how well known Big is as a meme, you'd think this would have gotten more traction, but nope.
Yeah.
Luke's having trouble. That sucks.
As per
Yeah.
usual.
Howdy.
Just wouldn't
You
be
know-
a stream without him having a problem.
Okay, this is one big hell of a coincidence, because, like, years ago, we did, like, a story from the Metal Virus arc, and Luke was dealing with mic problems. Now we're doing a story where it's like everyone's coated in slime and turning into zombies, and Luke is once again having mic troubles. Geez, like, first
Maybe
the
it's
sex
changing.
robots with Captain Theory, and now this.
I know.
Ah,
Either that or Luke's more terrified of zombies than anything else. He's intentionally using the problems just to avoid talking about it. It's like, I don't want to talk about zombies! Quick, must do something to break the computer! Smash!
Clever boy.
Chucks it out the window. Yeah.
He has to switch to a laptop. Shall we wait for him or shall we...
Hello?
Luke,
Hello.
you're back. Ah.
Yeah, I'm on my phone.
Oh, you're
Ah,
on the
okay.
phone.
How's the audio from my phone? Is it
Yeah,
works.
good or?
Yeah, sounds good.
Oh, it's all right then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, all right then. I just want to say something regarding the story. I was going to say that yeah, it looks rather creepy, and I like how dark it is. It's a bit similar to Night of the Body Snatchers, which has that one like acting really creepy.
That'd be something.
Yeah, that's true.
If they start screaming at each other. Can't do those voices.
I think it was more like the old-fashioned black and white version, but I understand what you mean.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking of the 60s movie, I think.
I can imagine Cream doing that.
Oh boy! Oh, oh.
Now,
Look at
there's
that
an idea
face!
for a parody. Yeah, there's an idea for a
Torting all
parody.
over the place. Yeah. That'd be a nice Halloween drawing. Yeah.
But who?
Apparently someone's asking in the comments, Rhino Benka, is this stuff canon to anything? I don't know. I kind of feel like the kind of duality is kind of its own thing. Like, it focuses more on the game universe, but yeah. I'd say it's just its own thing.
Probably, yeah. Although, does canon even really mean anything? I get the feeling they don't really care.
Well, Sega sure as hell doesn't care, even when they try to cover it up with the whole, oh, everything's canon. Yeah.
We'll see what Frontiers does.
Yeah.
Although, since Frontiers kind of takes place in its own pocket dimension, I guess it doesn't really matter for that game. Speaking of which, do we want to have our final thoughts on Sonic Frontiers before we played it? Because this is it. This is our legendary moment. The last time we talk about Frontiers without knowing everything about it. We're still Sonic Frontiers virgins. This is the big moment where we're coming back later in time. Back when we were still innocent and didn't know what was waiting for us yet.
And of course, you grumbling about the sneak peek sort of prequel comics that were being shown.
Oh yeah, the
Oh,
comics.
Explain anything.
We could. Yeah, could briefly talk about like the full-on version now that Part 2 has come out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to talk about the comics. I didn't prepare that, so I have to look for the pictures.
Well, I mostly remember you made that post. It's like, oh, I read the comic, and it's all about memes, and that tweet was not well received from what I've seen.
No, everyone immediately attacked me on it. It's kind of annoying because they complain about it that it makes sense in story, which was never my complaint. I just said the comic is supposed to set up this game, and then you use memes. It kind of doesn't really set the mood. I mean, even if it's logical in story, but it still your prequel doesn't really set up this game very well. And I would argue it doesn't make sense in story because why would Sonic think that get a load of this is a statement he needs to recognize? I mean, that's just a normal attack phrase. Like, it's familiar to us because Sonic Avenger 1 uses the audio so weird, but to Sonic should just sound like a generic attack thing.
Well, to be fair, like, Robotnik does spam that line a lot during, like, the final battle in Sonic Adventure, so maybe it's just embedded into Sonic's memory.
Yeah, but is that in-universe or just because the game is weird?
Because potatoes!
But yeah, I'll not complain about
My
that.
line.
It's just my little glimpse. But yeah, Euan, you're the only one who actually played Sonic Frontiers. You have something to say about it? You played it today,
Yeah.
I think?
Well, it was... Well, I did go to London MCM, and of course it was happening again where they had, like, the demos available. But I didn't get round to playing it, though, because I played it 5 times, so I pretty much got what I could from it. But compared to, like, all the other sort of demos that are being played around the Sega area, the Sonic one was obviously the most popular because they had to extend the like the queue barrier around more because there was that many people queuing up to play it.
This is a very popular game, yeah, and Sega's also spending a lot more money advertising it. I see it pop up on YouTube a lot, so
Yeah.
pretty sure this Sonic game is going to sell very well. But then again, it has to sell better than usual because they probably spent a lot more money on it.
Yeah, with all the promotions and such.
A Sonic game with actually good marketing? Blasphemy!
Terrifying.
But yeah, it's quite the heel turn compared to how very little Sonic Forces got with the marketing, especially with the disaster that happened when IGN showed off like footage from like an early build and people were all pissed off about it.
Yes.
That happened at Frontiers too, so the usual.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. That's what I meant, Frontiers.
Right, yeah.
That get the whole Forces and Frontiers confusion, eh?
They both start with an F. And they both have the same tone, pretty much. The same, like, somber, miserable, low energy, like, eh.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised that they revealed the third island, and it's already called Chaos, and it's already the volcano theme. I was expecting that as the final island. I mean, usually the islands get more increasingly depressing as the game goes on, you would assume, so I'm kind of looking at this location, like, how can you get more depressing than this? Like, what's the other island going to be? Even more gray?
Green Hill Zone.
What?
The fifth island's Green Hill Zone.
Yeah, to Roger, it's Green Hell Zone.
Exactly.
Exactly. Roger
Well,
just be screaming, no!
they did already reveal the names of the final 2 islands. The last island has the name Uranus, so go make a Beavis and Butthead joke there. Uranus.
Or maybe it's Uranus. Yeah, pronounced Uranus, and we get to fight Sailor Uranus there.
Sure, why not? Yeah, you're already trying to come up with jokes for my parody?
Well, I don't know.
Or do it like they did in Futurama. It says, no, we changed it. It's called your rectum now.
Perfect, yeah.
Yeah, Butt Island. Yeah.
Of course. But yeah, Luke, you having any thoughts on Sonic Frontiers before it's out?
I'm gonna wait. I'm not get it exactly when it's come out because I'm playing something else at the moment. But I'm just gonna wait and see like the reviews come out to see what the game is like and how it plays. And also, I'm still on the fence whether to get it for the Switch or the PC. But I'm just gonna see the reviews and see which one I would probably go with.
PC is the best version if you're gonna mod it.
Yeah.
My PC is probably not powerful enough for it, so I won't bother. I think I'm gonna get the PlayStation 4 version.
Yeah, or just steal your wife's computer again.
Exactly.
Okay. And Euan, which version are you gonna get?
Well, probably much like Luke, I'm like on the fence of either going like for the Switch or going for the PC and just hope that my laptop can actually handle it. So I mean, it says it can be on the lower specs, but I'm just wanting to at least have like an option there.
Would have been nice if there's like a demo you could try just to see if it works, but alas.
Yeah, I mean, because like on the Steam page, it's got like the statistics on like the minimum settings you can actually have run the game on, and it seems to be able to run fine on the laptop. But when I see like all the recommended stuff, it's like, oh, you got to have an 8 GB like graphics card, and it's like, but mine's only 3 GB. Well, tough luck, matey.
Yeah, this is why I had trouble playing like PC games like back in like the 2000s, the 2010s, because like PC parts can get obsolete very quickly, and I remembered like how annoying it is you can't play the latest like PC games because you need like the upgraded graphics card with like hardware transform and lighting, and it's one of the reasons why I would like get an Xbox or something so I could play games on there, because with console games the games are specifically designed to run perfectly on them.
Yeah, it's always the problem, because for me, like when I first played Half-Life 2, I was using it like on the very sort of old laptop, and basically the frame rate was equivalent to like single digits, because it was struggling that badly. It was like, oh, I wish this was play better because it looks so awesome.
Yeah, because I remember I was trying to play like certain like PC games that were gifted to me, and like they won't run or they lag really badly, and I'm like, oh, sod it, I'll get the 360 version.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I think I had that happen once when I was trying to get the Steam version of Super Lucky's Tale to run on my at the time Windows 7, and yeah, the game was just chugging along with the frame rate being real crappy. So then I eventually just said, okay, screw it, I'm getting the Switch version. So that's what I did. Although I haven't tried playing the Steam version on my current Windows 10. I'm sure it runs a lot smoother now, but I haven't tried it yet.
I'm sure the developers love it when that happens, because then you have to buy 2 copies of their game.
It just depends on the franchise, because like when the new Crash and Spyro games come out, I had to buy those twice. Like, oh, it's my childhood franchise, yay! So I first bought them on PlayStation, PS4, because it's Crash and Spyro. They got to be on the PlayStation. And then I later just got them on Switch. It's like, hey, childhood on the go, yay! That kind of thing.
Exactly.
You simp. I do the same.
For me, it's buy digital, and then when it gets a physical release, just grab the physical version. So at least then you'll have the physical version forever, unless you lose it.
Before internet, the cloud to remove the games from internet.
Yeah.
I'm still just old-fashioned and buying physical version. Like sometimes I get them digital. Like when Crash 4 came out, like at the time I don't think there was a physical. Well, okay, the reason was, the whole exclusivity deal with the digital version. So I got Crash 4 digitally, and then I got the new KO the Kangaroo also digitally. That one in particular was mostly because apparently there doesn't exist a physical copy until, like, the end of the year, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it seems to happen more and more often. I guess it's too expensive, complicated now. Even
Yeah, and also I like to get physical versions because to save on memory space on consoles, and also like when you look at them on the shelf, you know like what games you got. But sometimes if you've got like a load of digital games on a console, you can't like remember like what games you got on there. Like sometimes I go through my Steam library, it's like, oh, I forgot I got that game.
Yeah, I'm in that category too. It's like, oh, I buy them physically so that my digital data on my PS4 doesn't take up too much space. Because if like, oh, want to play this game, you gotta like uninstall a game and then have to try it out. And then if you want to play it, you gotta reinstall it. And I'm just kind of like, what happened to the days of memory cards? It was more simpler back then,
Mm,
Yeah.
True.
It's complicated, yeah. But alright, yeah. Our final time talking about Frontiers before we actually played it. I made a third video to complain or grumble about my worries about it, but I didn't upload it on my main channel, so check in the description below. There's a link in case anyone is curious. I wanted to talk about the tone of the game, the somber one.
Roger's calm before the storm.
Exactly. But hey, if the game proves me wrong, I'm more than happy to swallow my words or something. It's not like I'm completely convinced.
I'm looking forward to that.
Poor Euan. So upset that I'm so negative about this game.
Well, yeah. You usually seem pretty negative about anything lately. It's like you're the negative wave of the group.
Because I want energy in Sonic. That's why I kind of like Sonic Prime. That has a lot of energy. But Sonic Frontiers just has no energy to it whatsoever. Everything is just kind of like, eh. Here's a big, giant, empty wasteland. Like, okay. Here's Green Hill Zone again. Like, okay. Where's the energy? Where's the life? Where's the adventure? Where's the music?
Where's anything?
Exactly.
Sonic is running in a field.
Where's the Omo Chow gun?
Exactly. There we go.
Where's civilization?
I think the problem is with Frontiers is you've seen this quite a lot of times in Unreal Tech Demo fan games.
Yeah, that's a joke everyone has. Like, oh, it's just Sonic thrown in an Unreal asset flip thing, yeah.
Yeah, that's quite the turnaround. Because I remember when Sonic Mania was announced and coming out, I was very cynical back then, being all like, "Oh, why bother wasting $20 on a fan-made Sonic game? We can easily find them on the internet for free." And I got so much shit for just saying that.
People don't like it, yeah.
Yeah, of course, I did eventually give Mania a fair chance, like 5 years after its release, when I found it cheap at a used game store for like $8. So then I broke down, I was like, okay, fuck it, I'll give it a fair chance. Then I played it, it's like, it's okay. That's just it. It's just okay. The hype pretty much ruined my experience.
Yeah, hype can do that, so I just need to experience it as it is. Anyway, yeah, Sonic Frontiers. It's going to be interesting. And I'm looking forward to reading the reviews. And the phrase I'm especially going to love is, the cyberspace levels are the best part. Because that's such a backhanded insult to the game. Like, here's Sonic Team creating this whole brand new foundation for the future. And everyone's like, yeah, well, the best part is when you just do old stuff again. It's like, ouch. Poor Sonic Team.
Nah, that's not it. The most words that people are looking forward to reviewers saying like, "Oh, this is the best Sonic 3D game since Sonic's had a rocky transition in 3D." Herp-a-derp-a-derp.
Hey, at least this game has 3D gameplay, so I'll allow that statement. When they say that about colors, I do get annoyed. It's like, that's a 2D game, you idiots. But this one does play 3D. Although I'm kind of amused how often there's still 2D sections, even in the open world areas. It's like, wow, Sonic Team, even here.
I'm quite curious of what the writing is like, because this won't have Pontiff and Graf related to it, so I won't hear Sonic making dumb references or something.
Yeah, that's going to be the best part. Yeah, I'm sure the characterization is going to be great.
Yeah, since
Influen's doing the writing, or at least just translating what he does. Yeah.
Just the dialogue, but the actual events, I think it's the same writer as Sonic Forces. In fact, I think Morio Kushi, the director himself, was the one who wrote it. I think I read that in an interview. I'm not sure. So I don't have much hopes for the actual story itself. But the dialogue is going to be good. So
yeah, I don't have much hope for it either. Well, it's mostly because my half is, I don't have much hope for it, mostly because no one Ian Flynn has to deal with all the mandates with the the Sonic comics and whatnot, especially with how Sega's like, no, you have to make Shadow like Vegeta-like, and that really tears me, because like I know Ian Flynn can write Shadow well, like in the days of Archie Sonic, and especially in certain stories, but now he's being forced to write this Shadow as a shithead and so it's no wonder why he has no interest in bringing back Shadow in IDW right now. So yeah, if Shadow's in this game in some way, then we're all doomed.
No, I don't think. They already said Shadow won't be in it. Although he is in Sonic Prime, so we'll see what happens there. Sorry, Euan, I interrupted you.
No, you didn't. Don't worry.
Or I stole your statement away from you.
Nah. I was just agreeing with everyone going like, sort of thing.
Fair enough. But yeah, you're the one who played the game. How's combat, actually? Are you really in control, or is it very automated?
I'd say you're in control. I mean, unless you consider, like, constant button mashing as, like, automated.
Nah, but I'm not kind of worried that you press a button and then Sonic just kind of turns into like an abstract shape and then it kind of plays as a cutscene for a bit.
Yeah, Sonic turns into a giant spoon to feed donuts to a monster or whatever.
Kind of like Kingdom Hearts 3. I felt like he didn't really have much control over the combat. He just kind of pressed buttons and just a bunch of animation explode on screen. He's kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
Guess
well, I mean, because like there's obviously sort of like a lock-on feature, so you can obviously keep facing the enemy and obviously be able to throw punches and being able to dodge attacks. And if you've got enough energy, just use the special attacks that you end up earning from saving your friends and such.
Alrighty, cool.
Yeah. I'm noticing a comment in the video. What is it? Meltshank's Melting Man's opinions on Catalina La Katrina. I just had to Google this up. Sorry, never seen the show. No idea what it is. Something about a skeleton lady or something related to Day of the Dead or something.
Never heard of that either.
Yeah,
Same.
it's a thing. There, I can acknowledge that it's a thing. So at least there's that.
Why did they ask you? Because there's cute girls in it?
I don't know. I just looked at those like, oh, skeleton girl, or maybe a girl dressed in makeup, or I don't know. I don't know. I currently don't have that really planned for my Halloween. I've got a movie double feature planned instead.
Fair enough.
Okie dokie.
Well, I think this video is over. I'm kind of tired, so...
Most of us are tired, yeah.
Yeah. Mind if I quickly plug in something?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, might as well plug. So, throughout this month, I've been doing new episodes for Archie Sonic Character Files, my series where I talk about characters from the comics, their history, and my personal thoughts. So this month, I've been doing characters that are kind of fitting into the Halloween season. So, first episode was about Wendy Naugus and the Witch Carts, the comics version of the main villains from Tail Sky Patrol. Second one was on the Krudzu hybrid Hydra, which is a very disturbing, dark take on the whole nature versus technology. So for the third one, I decided to have some fun and just talk about the all the times that Sonic has crossed paths with Sabrina, the teenage witch, because yes, that was a thing in the Archie Sonic comics. Yeah.
Alrighty.
So yeah,
cool.
check out the Sabrina episode that I recently posted and all its weirdness, even if all the stories are non-canon. But yeah.
There you go. Luke, you have anything to sell? To add for
So, no, not at the moment, no.
Not your soul?
No.
No, he's doing that for Halloween.
He needs a very good offer for that. Yeah, you have anything to tell our audience to do?
Not really, but I was having a bit of a chuckle when Melting Man was explaining about all of his videos that he's making, and yet Euan is just like staring at him as he's saying it's like tell me more. And of course Luke's fast asleep.
Oh,
he's like boring.
Yeah, and then they came face to face with the dreaded thing from Archie Sonic.
And
of course Roger was being uninterested.
Oh yeah. I am a vampire. I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire.
I want to suck your blood, Roger.
It's kind of funny because there have been a few times in my Forgotten Media series where I've dressed up like well, not quite the character. It was just I threw in a Dracula cape, like, there I am doing the Halloween episode. Mwahaha. And I think there was one time I tried to do the Dracula impersonation. Yeah, welcome to Forgotten Media, and that kind of thing.
Sounds pretty good. Cliche, but cliche for a reason, because it's fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah, since I brought it up, yeah, sadly there is no Forgotten Media Halloween special this year. I've kind of had my hands tied with other projects and whatnot, but I am thinking of doing a retrospective on all of the Halloween specials that I've done in the past. So it's not, yeah, so it won't be absent of Forgotten Media, because looking back, it's kind of funny how half of 2022 for me on Video Comment has pretty much been my own version of the year of Sonic, with Archie Sonic and everything, especially what happens next month with Archie Sonic's 30th anniversary.
It never ends. Alrighty, what does end is our stream, because I'm really tired now. So
Yeah.
bye-bye, everyone.
Goodbye!
Alright, cheerio.
Toodle pip.